I'll let you put that one on when you're ready.
You're live, by the way.
I know I'm live already. This is my butt.
Yay.
Alright.
Butt butts.
All the butts. Okay. And you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Em, are we in frame, Pop, on the phone?
Checking. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Someone needs to make those dogs be quiet.
Peppers.
Winnie. I'll usually block down. So yeah, no, this is our room. It exists. We've just always like had parties and like open rooms on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
And I need this one to flip. There you go.
Okay. All right. So hello again. Hi, I'm Girlfriend. I am your Florida Community Bootblack for this year. We're doing leather and laces today. I have with me right now Master Talos and his little Sassie, and they're both lovely people. And we're going to be talking about some leather care today, and we're also going to be doing some interpersonal things. Just as a friendly reminder, these are the opinions of both Sassie and Master Talos. They are in no way reflect of Florida Leather Sir or Florida Leather Boy or Florida Community Bootblack. But let's go ahead and get started. So I've got the note cards. I've got note cards here.
So official.
I'm trying. Okay. So who are you guys? What are your pronouns?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So my name is Sassy Sofia. My pronouns are she, her. That's me.
That's you.
Mm-hmm.
I am Master Talos. My pronouns are he, him.
He, him. Okay. What's your contact info? Where can people find you if they want more information?
I am on Fet and Facebook. I'm generally more on Facebook. Sassy Sofia for both.
Deal. I'll put all that info in the bios
Okay.
as well, at the bottom.
Sadistic-Talos in Fetlife.
Mm-hmm.
And in Facebook is MSTER
ER Talos.
Talos.
Deal.
Master Talos without the A at the beginning.
Deal. Okay. And what are we going to be cleaning today? We've got two things, actually.
So we have a leather cuff that's Daddy's. So something small and easy, but definitely needs some lovin'.
Deal. And we also have
We got boots.
we got some boots to clean today. So
Yeah.
Sassy, while I'm cleaning Sir's boots for him, I'm going to be also tandem teaching you how to clean a leather cuff.
Awesome.
And this will help translate into almost any piece of leather.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay, so we get to do hard questions. All right. Before we start, I'm gonna have you take a bottle of water.
Yes.
I'm gonna have you take a clean rag. One of these is clean. This one's clean.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna have you squirt the rag with the bottle.
I'm good at squirting. So.
I know you are. Same. Awesome. Thanks. All right. So I'm gonna have you wipe down your rag, and I'm gonna put your boot right up on top of me. Is that comfortable for you?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Cool. I'm gonna roll up your boot cuff here.
Okay.
All right.
Scandalous.
So with any piece of leather, I always ask where it's going, because sometimes I get customers here from not Florida. But I believe we spoke earlier, and these are staying here in Florida.
They are.
They are. Awesome. And I'm doing this to just kind of get off the dust and grime first.
What would make the difference if it was not in Florida?
So different conditioners react differently in different weather conditions.
Oh.
So like something from Chicago needs like a lot heavier conditioner, like a Hubbard's. Something that's down here in Florida, I like to use Obenauf's because it's a bit lighter of a conditioner and it doesn't attract the sand so much.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. That's all personal preference. Don't come at me. I know people are diehard for Hubbard's. I'm gonna take the other one.
The smell is so good.
Oh yeah.
For that.
Trust me, I am a big person on scent. All right. So what does leather leadership mean to you? I'll ask Master Talos first because I stared at him.
Leather leadership as.
What does leather leadership mean to you? Like a person in power and such, or a community head figure?
leadership to me has to do with having a very special commitment to our community. And we're gonna have to lead by example. When we are people that are in leadership have
We don't cross contaminate.
have a responsibility, not only to ourselves, be our true selves, but in a big sense to our community.
I like it. What about you, Sassy?
I think it is someone who is of service to the community, who gives back, but also someone who is inclusive of all kinds of people and stands for things that they value, and even if that's difficult, still doing it anyway.
I like it. Awesome. Cool. That also goes on the ground. Alright, so we're gonna take Fiddler's saddle soap here in white. Doesn't matter, I just have the white today. It's what I pulled out of my kit. We're gonna wet it down. And Sassy, you're gonna take that brush there you have and do little circles. That should be good. And you're gonna circle all the way over. I'm gonna do the same here. How are you finding both teaching and learning the lifestyle classes on Zoom and other platforms?
I believe that within the difficulty that we're all facing and with the pandemic, the fact that we have this ability of this venue to actually communicate with each other and interact, educate and be educated.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the silver linings of this pandemic. I mean, to be able to get the opportunity to see and talk to people that probably you would only see once a year or so at a leather run, it's amazing.
What about you, Sassy?
I agree with what Daddy said, and I think it's not just seeing people that you would only see once, but seeing people that you wouldn't get a chance to see ever, as well as connecting you with people who are farther away. And I think part of the difficulty of that has just been getting used to the virtual stuff and learning Zoom and all that technological things for non-tech savvy people like ourselves.
I get it. I'm still learning a lot of tech savvy things, so
Right.
I feel your pain.
It's been an uphill battle, but we're getting there.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So what does a Leatherman mean to you?
A leatherman
Mm-hmm.
is a person that walks through life with a very special set of values. I define a leatherman not so much as what he wears, but who he is as an individual. We all share, yes, of course we share the passion and we love the smell of leather and we enjoy all the fun things we do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But being a leatherman is a lot more than that. For me at least, it has a big component of service and giving back.
What about you, Sassy?
I'm assuming for a leather woman.
A leather woman. Yes, sorry. What does a leather woman mean to you?
Yeah, I agree again with a lot of what Daddy said. I think it's also important to look towards the past and the people that have moved before us, and that's not to be discounted at all. And I think that's something that we can learn from and grow from in terms of updating languages and looking at other issues in the community, whether it be consent or boundaries or what have you, and just moving forward in a positive direction that way.
Awesome. Cool stuff. Hey, don't fall cards in.
Where should I put this?
Oh, you could just put them right back here.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have your leather clean. I'm gonna do the bottom of your shoes because they got some gunk on the bottom. All those notices.
They do. I was just seeing that.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna double check. So it's a good way to double check in the light. I have a nice ring light now, so you can kind of see if you missed any patches. We still have some soap gunk here, so we're just gonna take a rag and we're just gonna wipe it off because you don't want soap gunk to be embedded.
Yeah, I haven't wiped it off at all. I just.
Oh no, you're fine. Sometimes that works and sometimes that's okay. So, but I usually double check so I don't get soap gunk in there, so it doesn't turn rancid and doesn't eat your leather back.
Right.
Too much can be sometimes a pain in the butt. All right. Leather.
No, I don't think so.
No. All right, we always throw the rags on the ground because we don't want to cross contaminate. Want to keep as clean as possible. Okay. So your leather is going to be real easy today. Do you have a conditioner type that you would like, or would you like me to recommend something?
Let's do your recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to darken it a bit? Do we want to lighten it up?
How do you feel, Eddie?
Darken it.
You want to darken it?
Let's do it.
I can give you. I'm gonna go ahead and make it. I'm gonna make you paint something. It's gonna be very conducive to being a little.
This sounds like fun.
It
I was gonna
is.
say. It's like
And I've done it to my own leather. This is why I know about this. Here is the giant book. Okay, that's many things. We're gonna use this. So this is called Voodoo Leather. This is what you can use on a car. It's usually for car interior and seats, but it does redarken your leather. I noticed because I had a blue bracelet that had black underneath, and it turned it almost completely midnight blue.
Oh.
So, we are also gonna need a paintbrush for that. So,
You have all the goodies.
I do. I had so many goodies. Here you go.
Yay.
See the paintbrush. So,
Very fun.
I'm gonna give you this small bowl here, and you can just
Put
go
some of that
ahead,
in here.
dump the conditioner in there.
Okay.
You're only gonna need a little bit because it's a small bracelet. And you can go ahead and start just gently painting it back on. I know, because I've done it. Okay. So, what is MAST?
MAST stands for Masters and Slaves Together.
Awesome.
Is an organization that is dedicated to the education of the master and slave lifestyle
Nice.
and authority-based dynamics.
Awesome. And you do a lot of work with MAST.
I am the current director of MAST Kissimmee,
Nice.
and I've been a member of different MAST groups.
We're good to go.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay.
Just gently take it little by little. I'm giving you little things to do while you paint. See, yeah.
I love it.
I love it. Okay. Sassy, what's Little Scouts?
Oh.
I'm gonna take your shoe.
Little Scouts is actually something that was started in San Francisco. That is I like to think of it as a network for age players. Our troop, the Little Scouts of Central Florida, is actually open to both age players and critters, because I feel like the more the merrier, and I think it's good for us to learn more about each other and to play together, and all those fun things. So Little Scouts is basically a way of giving back to the community, and you can earn fun badges while you do so. And we like to normally we host our classes at the Woodshed every month, but because of COVID, we have been going online virtually. So we just had a game night last night, which was fun. And we've been doing movie nights, so just trying to keep connected in a virtual way this coming year.
I love it. I love it. And I love the Little Scouts. Okay. How can one join a MAST group or the Little Scouts? how can one find, like, if they're outside of Florida, let's say, how can one find those things?
Well, MAST is an organization that has chapters all over the United States, and different cities have different chapters, and some of them have are very specific. Like I know there's one in Atlanta that is it's more focused towards female led dynamics. Our group here in Kissimmee is open to everybody that is interested, and it is either in a relationship or just interested in authority-based, in any type of authority-based relationship. How you can find us? You can go to mast.net, and depending on the city where you are in, etc., you can try to find the closest one to you. As far as our group, we post our events on Fetlife. We have our Mass Kissimmee page on Fetlife and Facebook. And our events are open to everybody, as long as you're a consenting adult.
Important.
Right. And nowadays, with everything being virtual, it's really nice to get people that aren't necessarily from our MAST chapters, or you can go to other MAST chapters, classes, or meetings, and that's really, it's a really nice way to interact with other groups that we wouldn't normally be able to go to. So
That is awesome. Alright. Can you tell us about the Onyx Pearls, Sassie?
Sure. Onyx Pearls, I am a part of Onyx Pearls Deep South. So, hashtag Deep South baby. Yeah, that is a group that I am an associate member of. They actually are just celebrating their 2-year anniversary coming up, which is very exciting.
That's awesome.
They also, I believe they were the recipient for the Small Leather Club of the Year for, I believe it was 2020, or yeah, because it was last year. So
Things are blending, got it.
Yeah, right. I'm like, was it 29? I don't know.
It is 2021.
Yeah,
Wow.
it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it.
Right. So, that's their group, and we actually just met last night. It was really nice to see everybody and
Nice.
be able to connect virtually that way.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Aww. So, how do you two find time for community? Because honestly, like, I picked you guys for this interview because I see you guys do so much for the community. Like, how do you find time for all these events? Like, I've seen you, like, come to events and be, like, dead tired and still come up and show up and, like, say hi to at least 5 people and then, like, go crash.
It is, I think you have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it, and when there's a will, there's a way, and you find the time, and you do what you can. I am blessed to have a partner in crime that is very good with scheduling. And that actually is always a big help when it comes to that.
Nice. Alright. Sassy, did you finish painting all that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's like super dark now. It's
It-
very impressive.
It's gonna get darker.
Very cool.
I'm gonna have you do another layer on it though. as
Okay.
well. So
All right.
we've got,
More painting.
we're gonna do more
Love it.
painting.
I'm down.
Because I could see that you missed the patch on the bottom here. Like when I saw it in the light very quickly, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, there's one.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Do it again.
Why not?
We'll do it again.
More than we are. You know, I'm always on board because I've taken a couple bootblacking classes, but I definitely am still like learning and everything to do, and I'm like, tell me what to do. I'm like, all right, let's make it better, because that's the thing with leather is you can just like wipe it down and start over again, and like you can't, you know, mess it up too bad.
You can.
So-
Now. There have been times.
Oh, well, I mean, I would hope, you know, cross
You
my-
will-
you know,
you
knock
will.
on wood, I haven't done that quite yet. So.
You will. I'll give you advice after the interview on messing up.
yeah, always.
All about that.
We're all about messing up over here.
But messing up,
Learning
you
from
learn
that.
and you grow.
Exactly, and learning from it and being like, okay, how can I do it better? And
All right.
I love that.
I love it. So each of you, can you tell me what your top 3 kinks or fetishes are?
Oh, that's easy.
That's easy?
Yes.
Okay. It's easy.
I love impact play, sensation play, and I have to say mind fucks.
Yay.
Yay, mind
I
fuck.
like all of the above. So for me, I would say mine is, oh my god, what are you doing?
I'm burning off the threads.
Oh my god, this is
We'll get
amazing.
to do that too later.
I'm like, this is amazing. We get to burn stuff now?
Yeah.
This is exciting. I want to learn how to do that.
I got you a class. I've got
Yay.
you.
So for me, I would say I'm definitely really into knife play or any kind of fear play, food play, and age play.
Duh. I love it. What advice would you give to someone who wants to go into a gay leather bar or into a leather bar in general? What advice would you give someone? Someone who's completely new, doesn't know anything, but really like, I have a feeling, but I'm scared, or whatever XYZ reason.
I would say be respectful, and I would say like have courage and just do it, and don't be, you know what I mean? Like, don't be put off because I feel like a lot of people might not interact with certain people if they don't know you, and it might just be out of respect, and they don't know if you're in a dynamic or anything like that, and so they really are more careful to approach people out of, you know, consent and all of those other fun things. So I would say just jump in a respectful way, and you know, the more that you show up and show out, the more that people see that that's who you are, and you can go from there. That's what I would say.
So just do it is the philosophy, kind of.
Well, that's
Do it, but do it politely.
Right, exactly. Do it respectfully. I mean, you know, don't be like going into there and being like, oh, I deserve all the things that I'm leather. You know what I mean? I mean, you can, but I wouldn't do that. But yeah, if you want to learn about it, and if you want to know, then that's the best way to know is to do it. You know. And I'll hold their hand, whoever's scared, because I know I was scared. So it's always good to have somebody there.
There you are. Sorry, I don't know where my open
I mean,
house ran
who
off
wouldn't
to.
be scared of going into a bar and seeing Daddy in the corner? I would be terrified in the best kind of way.
But that's just us. What about you, sir?
I would keep it very simple and say, walk in and be yourself, and when in doubt, ask.
Yeah.
That's always good
And
advice.
if you are very, very new to it, that starts introducing that consent that is so crucial in our lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Sir, can you tell us about Latinos in leather?
Latinos in leather I am so excited about Latinos in leather. As a person of color, a Latino, one thing that I've noticed, and I always get very excited, is when I meet other Latinos. I mean, hey, and I going back to when I got involved with the community in DC, the fact that there was another Latino that I could go and learn from, actually, I felt that opened doors for me. Now that I see a Latino organization. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of us around, but I don't think that we have gone together as a group. It always takes somebody to have the guts to do it, and shout out to Mia Rose.
Yeah.
You're doing a wonderful job.
She is.
Yeah.
And it's so special to actually be able to have that and that fellowship. We don't have that many organizations nationwide, at least not that I know of.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to actually to have the opportunity to be part of something like that.
Nice. What about you, Sassie? Any thoughts on Latinos in leather?
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. I again, Miss Mia Rose is doing fantastic. She's really putting the money where the mouth is, and when you see hard work like that and the dedication like that, I'm glad that there is a space for Daddy to go to, because I know that before he was talking about that and just recognizing that there's a lack of something and a lack of space, that when you create those spaces for people, it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's really wonderful to see.
I love it. No, I'm excited about Latinos in leather. When she told me about it, I'm like, yes, sign me up. I'm all about that for
We
me.
actually just had the 1 year anniversary, and we had a whole day of events that was
I know,
very
it was
nice.
so sad I had to miss it.
I know, puppy.
Yeah, as a get
Sad.
dog surgery.
Yeah.
So.
Real life duties. Dog mom duty.
Life before lifestyle. So how do you find being Hispanic in the leather community for you?
To me, it's been an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about this before, but it is. At the beginning, at least for me, it was you go through that stage where you're just trying to blend in until you realize that there's no blending in. You are who you are, and you have to embrace who you are. And some people are gonna like it, some people are not gonna like it, and that's that. I mean, you have to embrace that and realize that you're gonna have challenges, and there's gonna be people that think differently or don't think that you should even be around as a Latino and person of color, but we're here and we ain't going anywhere.
I agree. That card's gone.
Oh no.
Can you both tell us about bedtime stories?
Oh yeah, sure. So as part of our Little Scouts group, we host a private group on Facebook where we host bedtime stories at least once a month, if not twice a month, and lately it's been every week because I think people are excited in the new year for bedtime stories and everything. So it's just a way to read 3 or 4 stories to the littles and critters, and a girlfriend over here has read to us several times, and always very fun. And Daddy's read too, and that's always very enjoyable for me personally. So
My whole house joins in on bedtime stories.
Oh,
It's
good.
not only me watching.
right, it's
when
an event.
Yeah, no, it's all the roommates get to join and hang out and bond and be like, who's reading this week? We're all so excited. We love the Star Wars reading with you and Chewbacca. We were dying, and I'm like, oh my god, yes.
I love it.
Absolutely love the Chewbacca stories.
Yeah, because he does his chewy voice too. Very fun.
How do you both navigate an interracial relationship? For both of you.
Well, I have to say that Sassie makes it very easy. She actually comes from a very diverse and open background. Um, Actually, I would say a lot more open than where I came from, and that actually is become an asset. I mean, she's since I met her, she's always had that activist vein in her, and she's that fire inside of her, and at the same time being very cognizant of
Who I
race,
am.
of race.
Yeah.
And that is actually I think a blessing in our relationship.
Stop yelling at me things.
Right. No, I mean, in terms of that, I mean, I think it's about, I mean, for me, this is the person I love, you know, and it's not like a fetish, it's not like, you know what I mean, it's not like anything like that, it's like, and it's something that we, you know, face and all the time, and for me, it's more about both taking a step back when I need to, which I'm very okay with doing. Like again, I'm an Onyx Pearls Deep South associate. I'm here to support you and be like, yes, you should have these spaces. But knowing when to step back, but also knowing when I need to step forward and speak on behalf of either my generation or all white people, or you know, speak in defense of daddy too, like when needed. I think we've encountered times like that, and we've come up from the DC area, and so coming down south, it's been a big change for both of us, and I'm definitely not from the south. I'm from the West Coast, from LA, so it's like a very different culture where I'm coming from. And just getting used to that, I think, has been interesting for both of us to navigate.
Thanks. Okay, so we're getting back to the leather.
Oh yeah.
So I know we're doing stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna have you take this. This is clear nail polish, and I'm gonna have you paint on the buttons now. So that way it kind of protects the buttons, and you don't get extra scratches and dings, and like paint doesn't fall off.
Okay.
So especially if you have black buttons, grab a black nail polish around Halloween and throw it in your kit and keep it in there.
Oh.
So yeah, and it's just the button top.
Right. And does that do anything later on? Like, because I know like some nail polish, like it rubs off eventually.
Eventually it will rub off.
So
and
that's
chip.
just something that you just like keep reapplying.
Yeah, you could keep reapplying. You can also just take a little bit of light acetone and water and rub it off if you want to like strip it down.
Right.
And go ahead and reapply.
Okay.
So I got you clear nail polish here. For those of you who missed it, I put some heavy duty LP Obenos on here because these guys are staying in the south. I'm going to do some light polish on the toe here because I noticed a small gash. So I'm going to fill it in with Lincolns and then some Saphirs. And we're going to get some nice polish going on this. Daddy doesn't know what I'm saying, but that's okay.
Sounds good.
Alright. Can leather and kink be political?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I think it's inherently that way. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I don't think you can separate a lot of, especially nowadays, I feel like you can't separate, or I can't personally separate a lot of issues nowadays between my values as a person and my values as a leather girl, and, you know, I think those are all, yeah. I don't know.
What about you, sir?
I'm sure Daddy has something to say.
There is no way that we would be here as kicksters and not pay homage to those that came before us, and that stood out and had the struggle. This is a counterculture of people that have had to fight for their rights. I mean, you go back to the post-World War II days. Part of being leather and a lot of the things that we do, I mean, it wasn't okay to be out, and it comes with our lifestyle, the fact that political struggle. I mean, you have
I gotta make him think.
you have the LGBT struggle. You have you go back to the 80s, early 80s, when we had a first lady that was saying no to drugs,
Right.
and people were dying of AIDS.
Yeah.
And it was through the activism of a lot of the members in our community that a lot of things happened. So we can't separate who we are from the politics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just a few years ago, we had trans people banned from the military.
Right.
Those are our brothers and sisters
Yeah.
in leather.
Yeah, no, we really do care about all those things.
So, I mean, we can't separate one from the other. I mean, I hear that a lot, and I see it a lot in Fetlife and different
Right, like
spaces.
kink is not political, yeah.
Yeah, keep your politics out of kink.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah. You can't.
And usually, the way I see it, it's become a code word for bigotry and racism. It's like, why don't you want me to express myself? Why do you want to keep silencing me? And I think our job as leather people, it's to be active not only inside the community but outside the community too. I mean, I know from standing out for people of color in a Black Lives Matter protest to actually standing outside an LGBTQI center.
Let me take a break.
and standing there so that children's stories could be read.
Right.
And Sassie can talk a little more about that too.
You know, for the drag queen story hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to volunteer at the center. I don't anymore because of COVID, but once it's safe to again, I'm really hoping to again. But that's one of the things that they do as volunteers is you just literally like shield children from people who come from however far away they come to protest drag queen story hour, and it just seems so silly to me, but yeah, that's, you know, all you can do is be there and be a shield, and that's it.
I get it.
How's this looking?
Alright, let's take a look.
I didn't want to do it too much because I don't want to get the nail polish on the leather
Oh no,
itself.
you're fine. You're fine. This is looking great. I'm gonna let this dry down a little bit. We are going to, you just toss that in here. I'm gonna look for any threads. I didn't see any, so that's why you didn't get to fun burn things
I know.
earlier. I'm so sorry.
Darn.
It's okay. I've got like a million pieces of leather that need to be cleaned around here if you want to burn some
Right.
strings.
Why do you burn strings?
Why we burn strings so the string stops and it doesn't pull apart the whole garment.
That's
That's why.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's really good. Like, I noticed there's some strings on your vest here. There's like little
Yeah.
snags coming up.
That's good
So
to
we
know.
can just easily burn the threads down.
Burn
Yeah.
everything.
Plus, it looks cool.
Right.
If you don't want to use fire, and if the string's really, really long, you can always knot it and then cut it off with a pair of small scissors.
Also, I do want to talk to you about this because I know I clean the pink, but if you have any
I can help you.
suggestions for cleaning pink leather,
I
that's
got
always
you.
appreciated.
I'm more than happy to help you with this.
Yay.
Okay. What is a piece of leather that you own and means the most to you, and why?
That is a tough question, but to make it simple, I'll say my vest.
Your vest.
And because it's been with me for a while. It's not my original vest, but this one's been with me for a while. It was very special. My rest in peace, my protege, after coffee actually gave it to me for one of my birthdays. And so it has a special significance in that sense.
It's super sweet.
Mhm.
What about you, Sassy?
That's tough. I feel like I would have to say two different pieces because my vest means a lot to me. It's taken a while for me to feel like I deserve to wear this. Like I always used to be like, no, I always like felt like I was always like, am I like good enough? Am I like, can't, like, you know what I mean? But once you know and accept that this is who you are, then like I feel like so confident now wearing it. And whether I wear it or not, like I always tell Daddy, like I'm like, I don't need to be wearing my leathers to be leather, you know? But like to feel comfortable and confident in it has been definitely a process for me personally. And also my second favorite piece would be the first piece that I got, which I got from Daddy, which he actually gave me just before my first protocol supper, which I was so anxious about and so nervous for. And it's a little it's a cuff piece that he wore on his wrist, and I wear it on my ankle sometimes. And it says, I believe it says Sadistic-Talos on it. I haven't worn it in a while, but yeah, that's definitely a meaningful piece for me.
That actually that vest being pink was on purpose. I mean, when she started blossoming into the person that she is, as a leather girl, I saw that why should I need to follow all the norms? Yes, I love black leather, but she loves pink. She loves to wear ears and wear, so I went around and I said, I need to find the pink vest that actually. And,
He did that all on his own too. He was like, I need a pink
yeah,
vest.
granted, I'm not the best person with technology and doing all these searches and stuff. Well, I found it, and
I can see.
Yeah, right.
It looks great.
yeah.
It looks really good. All right. How do you think events will change after COVID?
God. You know, it's hard to know. I know that a lot of people are very anxious to get back to the norm and what has been. I mean, I think at least in our community we have the benefit of people ask you before they touch you, and so that kind of a distance thing is kind of inherent in our community, which is kind of useful in this case. I'm hoping that virtual events still continue. I think those have been really useful in a lot of ways. but I really don't know what the future is going to look like. I would love for the day when, you know, we can all just have our little, you know, orgies all together again. But until that can happen, I don't, you know, it's all about people's safety and taking calculated risks and being as safe as we possibly can, and also being in charge of a couple groups. We also want to not risk anybody else's safety. That's a huge concern of mine. I would hate if we hosted an event or had people somewhere and somebody got sick from that, or even the potential of something like that. I mean, we can't risk that. So yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. What about you, sir?
I think that the pandemic has taught us a number of lessons. I do believe that there's a point that we'll all be able to share space again, and doing it in the way that we like it. But just like with everything, it's gonna be a little different. I think that a lot of practices are gonna stay. I think eventually with the vaccine and different things, we will all feel a little more comfortable being around others, especially large groups of people, where we can feel that beautiful leather energy, which I miss so much. I can't tell you how much I miss that. But we will get there. But I think it's coming, and I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna take a while. I feel hopefully by mid next year we're gonna have to we have found a new normal where we're all comfortable again doing the things that we do. Although I think vetting and negotiations would have a couple of new questions. And like before, it was all about, okay, you have ABC in your bag, and then you have condoms, and you have this, and you have that, and now it's gonna be, oh, you have a thermometer.
Couple extra safety
There's gonna be other things too, in addition to our normal safety precautions. But we'll get there, and I'm confident we're gonna get there, and we'll be back.
I believe so too.
We're a resilient group of people.
This is true. This is true. All right. Is BDSM and kink sexual? Can it be sexual?
I don't think it has to be. I think what we do has definitely a certain level of energy, and I wouldn't say that is sexual. It may be very sexual to me. It may be the reason why some things got me interested, because they get me off. But in my particular case, there's a lot of things that, for me, there's a lot of things that are very sensual and very sexual, even if we're not actually doing the thing. But not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody.
Yeah. What about you, Sassie?
I agree. I think that for me personally, both are inherently sexual, just because I am a sexual being. And for me, I couldn't not associate my leather with sex. I mean, I think there's something about that energy that is so freeing and attractive that I can't personally not associate with. So.
Okay. How has the leather community impacted your life journey?
Well, I definitely, I mean, it's impacted every part of my life. I feel like I mean, I can't speak for us, but I would say a huge part of my life, at least, is leather and the community. That's what I put my energy into. That is what I love to give to. I love to do. I love to be a part of, and I love to learn. There's tons of new things that I don't know about and can learn from other people, like so. And yeah, for me, I mean, it's completely changed my life path. I did not know that leather was a thing. I barely even knew that BDSM existed, and I was like, oh my god, this whole new world. And then Daddy's really the one that introduced me to leather, and he's the one that originally told me that that's what I was, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. And now, years later, it's like, yeah, you know, you were right, and I didn't know that, and I didn't believe that in myself at first, but it's definitely something that I'm 100% committed to. So that's my life now.
What about you, sir?
I definitely, you know, we get into kink. I mean, I always knew I was not very conventional in anything. I later on found out that there wasn't tribal people like me, and that like to do different things. And then I found that between that group of people, there was something else. And that's where the leather community impacted me. I found my people, and I haven't looked back. It becomes a way of life. I mean, it becomes who you are in different aspects of your life. Regardless if we're wearing leather or we're playing or we're doing or enjoying getting my boots bootblacked. You are who you are, and that becomes your life. I mean, in a way, that is who I am.
Awesome. All right. Why do you think some leather folks have massive issues with non-binary friends?
With non-binary friends.
Mm-hmm. People in the non-binary transgender community.
You know, I don't know. I would say that that's sounds like a personal problem, and you know, people who are not accepting of other people or who don't like other people based off of something like that, it's really unfair and kind of goes against what I would think would be leather and as a whole. And I think, furthermore, I think it's really, you know, oh no.
It's okay. Ask the question.
I think it's really important to speak up for those individuals and to create spaces for them. I think, you know, we're starting to have those conversations more and more, and how to be more inclusive. And I think that, you know, I'm excited to have that only, you know, grow further.
Nice. Okay. What about you, sir?
I think it's a matter of education. It's a matter of a lot of it is not understanding, and having to unlearn a lot of things that we grew up knowing as that's just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
and it's a process of learning. I mean, I've had to learn. I have to learn, and I mean, I've been lucky to be in a community that helped me understand a lot of things. Because I mean, of course there are those that have their predispositions, but a lot of it, and the majority of us, I don't think we're coming from a bad place. I think it's not knowing, but there's also a responsibility of, let's learn, okay, what does this mean, and what does it mean to be non-binary, and you have to do your own homework. You can't expect the world to come and educate you. You have to be willing to learn how things are. I mean, I know I didn't grow up with pronouns or anything like that, and it just was what it was.
Right, there wasn't the language.
If you look like me, you were a he, and if you look like her, you were she, and that's not reality. Unfortunately, that's what we knew then, but now we know better.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we know better. I mean, and it's our brothers and sisters.
Awesome. Sassie's eyes got really
intrigued.
wide.
I was like, what?
This is edge coat.
Cool.
We're gonna darken this part
Awesome.
for sir.
For the bottom part here?
This rubber part here,
Ooh.
we're gonna darken up a bit.
Cool.
So let me take a look at that cuff because it should be pretty good
Yeah, I think
now.
it's good. I hope so.
It is good. I'm gonna, cause it got that fun one, and maybe we want to reshine it up. I'm gonna have you use some Chelsea's Clear on top of it,
Okay.
and you're just gonna warm it up in your hands real quick, and
Okay.
then gently put a little bit on the bracelet.
Okay.
Okay. What is gifting leather? Why would someone? What's gifting leather for some people who don't know what that is?
To put it in a very simple way, as leather people, leather becomes very important to us in a very symbolic way. So, what a better way of honoring somebody than by gifting them a piece of leather. A lot of times that piece of leather is a piece of leather that carries history, that it carries somebody's history, and in essence, that history is being passed to you and you're being honored with that. I do have to say that as special as it is, and that is again my very personal opinion, and I encourage anybody hearing me right now, if you like a piece of leather and you want to have it and it's in a shelf somewhere, go get it and wear it and enjoy it.
I'm like in awe right now. That is so cool.
It's also super stainy.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't sting your legs.
I mean, I'm used to getting dirty. I'm a bootblack.
Right, this is true.
I'm used to the dirty grime. That's my life, dude. Okay. You gotta go. What is your favorite toy in your toy bag?
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, I can tell you.
What about you, Sassy? You go first.
I know what Daddy's gonna say. Or I think I know what he's gonna say. My favorite toy, well, in my toy bag or in Daddy's toy bag? 'Cause those are
Let's go in
different.
your toy bag first.
In my toy bag, I really like. I have a dog bone ball gag, and it's pink. It's like a hot pink.
That's
It's
awesome.
super cute, and it's really fun. And I'm a big fan of like jewelry messes and stuff, so ball gags are a lot of fun for that. I also have one that's like a ball that has like little holes in the middle, so then you just like drool right through. It's really fun. Good stuff.
And what about you, sir? What's your favorite toy in your toy bag?
So, my protege, Sir Joe, who's very crafty, made this paddle made out of medical grade silicone, and that paddle is white.
Oh, I've seen that paddle.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't show you guys, but it's cool.
That paddle is amazing.
It's my least favorite toy, so that's why I was like, it's his favorite.
Awesome.
Because it's literally like indestructible. It's kind of, it's like
Absolutely.
bendy and yeah.
It's a great thing. I also have a flogger that was custom made for me. And originally, when the flogger was made, it had a dildo on one side and the flogger on the other side. For some reason, among the different places where we've been, the dildo part kind of like disappeared, and I still have the other part of the flogger, but that one is another one that's really special to me.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna let those suckers dry.
Yay.
Edge coat gets everywhere.
Right?
Alright. Alright, let me see what that bracelet looks like now. We did all the things. All the things. Awesome. This looks great. You did an awesome job.
Yay.
Super proud. Okay.
Thank you.
How would you help a newbie in a dungeon setting?
How I would help, my whole thing with newcomers is we've all been there, and I remember my first time and I was totally terrified, and I was just very impressed that I made it inside the building. Like it was a 2-story building. They were like, want to go upstairs? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll hang out in the corner and not talk to anybody, you know? So I want to be that person that makes people feel comfortable, even if it means sitting in the corner with them for a couple hours. Definitely holding somebody's hand, asking them questions, giving advice, or being able to like educate them, maybe like a little demo, even if it's doing it on myself or something. Just really trying to make people feel comfortable and show that it's not this big scary thing.
Awesome. What about you, sir?
Talk to people. You gotta talk to people. You gotta find out why they're there.
True.
You gotta wanna know. I mean, if there's anything that when they came in that caught their eye, and you know, take it from there. I mean, one's because of course it's the first time somebody shows up at a dungeon, so they're gonna give you the 10 commandments of the do's and don'ts and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and all that stuff, and that's very important, of course, and then you know, they're gonna walk in and everybody's gonna be doing their own thing. So, like she was saying, you know, you stay there, you stay around, and it's like, hey, how are you doing? And you know, try to make them feel less. I mean, it is gonna be impactful the first time you walk in, regardless of anything, but kind of like lessening the blow a little bit and giving them a sounding board if you can.
I like it. Why do you both do power exchange? Why are you in your sir dynamic stuff?
I was really attracted to power exchange dynamics, specifically the daddy little dynamic, because I really like somebody to guide me and to tell me what to do sometimes, because I'll literally be like, I don't know how to people, daddy, like tell me. I'm just like just tell me what to do, and there's such a comfort in that to me. And also, for me, it was a big eye-opener when we took each other's love language test the first time, because hearing that his love language, receiving, is acts of service, I was like, no duh, you want me to do stuff for you. Like, that makes so much more sense. And knowing that makes daddy happy, in my mind, it's like, oh, that makes it so much easier for me to do the things. So generally, I'm definitely a people pleaser, and I definitely like to make people happy, and I like to make Daddy happy above everything else. And I feel like he's given me a lot of experiences and opportunities that I would not have had otherwise. He's definitely the one that took me under his wing. I was very new, and I didn't know anything about leather, and that's what's very attracted to me about PE relationships.
What about you, sir?
I stumbled into power exchange without even knowing that that's what it was. And this going back to even what you would call my very vanilla days, I was married for 15 years, and I mean, other than the inclusion of floggers and a couple of other very beautiful things that we do, and whips and chains and
Saran wrap and
Right.
saran wrap and food
and rope
and all this fun stuff. The relationship dynamic at home wasn't that different. Of course, we didn't have a contract, and that's just the way it was. And I mean, and originally I thought it's okay. That's maybe because I am Hispanic, and that's the way we do things at home. And later on, I realized no, that this is just who I was. This is how I conducted myself in relationships, and learning more about it. It opened a big door for me. That's why very early on in my journey, I started going to mass classes, because that resonated with me. That authority-based relationship, and why and how, and the different types, and of course there's no like one true way of doing anything. But the more you hear about it from different people, the more you read about it, you learn, and you kind of like finesse who you are as a person. So that kind of like brought it a little full circle for me when it came to power exchange. I mean, and since I joined the life, it's been a passion of mine to and that's why I still I attend my mass meetings, and now I'm running a chapter.
Awesome. Cool. What does it mean to be a sir, dom, or master to you? Sir. Master.
I believe is being able to humbly accept responsibility over another human being, and do it in a very ethical way. We can sit here and discuss for hours the difference in the terminologies or this and that, but let's say as a person in the left side of the slash, I think that's what it means to me. I think it's the humble responsibility of being in charge of another human being.
Awesome. What do you think about that, Sassie? What do you about the other side of the dynamic? So we talked earlier about being little.
Yeah, so being little or being an S-type?
Being an S-type.
Yeah, for me, I definitely, I'm trying to figure out how to answer the question. What do I think about being an S-type? I mean, that's just kind of who I am and what I resonate with. And in terms of being a little and everything, I mean, that's my personality. That's who I am as a person. to me, it's never been a question. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have a top side or whatever, but yeah, that's who I am at my core. I like to give. I like to be of service. It makes me feel good, and so in a way, it's kind of selfish, you know. But yeah, so that's definitely how I feel, and I also, you know, at least in the circles that we run in, I know that I've come across like there's a difference between like S-type and slave, and so I think that you know, people think about certain boxes, and if they can't like fit you into this nice neat little box, then they're like, okay, I don't understand, and they like keep moving. When I think the point of leather and really owning the leather you're in is being like, F those boxes, like I'm in all of the boxes and I'm spilling out over here and I'm spilling out there, and you know, I've been told so many times that like I am this, or I'm a slave, or I have to leave my little at the door if I'm topping someone, and I've been told, or I can't go to a cigar social because I've been told those things, like, actually, and, you know, as somebody who was newer, it's like, we have to be really respectful and understanding the influence that we have on other people when we say those things that might be the normal in our head, but don't necessarily fit other categories. So, I don't know. I feel like I don't really like categorizing myself or labeling myself, but I do so in order to give people an idea of how to interact with me.
Gotcha.
A phrase that we use in my leather house is, life is about balancing our chosen imbalance. And that goes to the core of our power exchange. This is the way we choose to design our relationship by choice. And of course it is unique in its own way. And even between the uniqueness of our life, though, our relationship, it doesn't fit in a lot of different boxes. And but at the end of the day, if it works for us, if you ask me, I mean, is it a daddy legal? Not really. Is it a master slave? Not really. Is it a modified this or a modified? I can tell you that it's an authority-based relationship that works for us.
To simply put it, it's Sassie and Master Talos.
That's it.
That works.
Awesome. How did you discover that you were a person of leather?
I think when I entered the community, one of the things I realized that there was more to it, and the fact that I needed more. I mean, just eating the dungeon Saturday night didn't just cut it. I needed more. I mean, there was more for me, and I found it. So that's what it means to me. I mean, it's a life of call it a life of chosen service. That's actually very fulfilling.
What about you, Sassie?
Well, I think I touched a little bit on that, but I definitely like had to be told. I had to be told, like, yeah, this is what you are, and I'm like, oh, okay. And eventually I came to believe that myself. But I think just, for me, it's just about doing the work. I enjoy doing the work. I would want to give back anyway, regardless of anything. So for me, I think that's kind of what made me understand it myself, was just seeing that I do show up, and yeah, we make sure shit gets done.
Yeah, you do. How do we as a community make safe spaces for all?
That's tough. That's tough, and I think we have to understand our dungeon spaces. I think our local dungeon here, the Woodshed, does a really good job in protecting our community. But just speaking up about consent issues, speaking up if you see things happening or people preying on other people. I know at least in my Littles and Critters group, I'm very aware of that, just because I know there is predatory behavior, specifically for some of those kinks. So I try to keep my group as safe as possible. That's kind of, I just lost my train of thought, but that's kind of what I think that's all I had to say. Yeah.
What about you, sir?
Can you tell me a question again?
Of course. How do we make the community safe spaces for all?
Oh, I remember.
I think we have to start by embracing our differences. By accepting the fact that we are different people. And it's not about, like I've heard before, and it doesn't sit very well with me when I hear it, oh, because I'm colorblind, so I don't see people's color. I'm like, no. Look at me and look at my color, because this is who I am. Because the fact that you accept me for who I am, and I accept you for who you are, is what's gonna make this safe. The fact that we need to start looking at one another and accept all those things. And yes, we have to self-police each other as a community, and I think for the most part, other than a few things, we're pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. We're pretty good at keeping our people safe, and yes, we can always do better. Mm-hmm. But I think it starts with that. I think it starts with looking at each other and saying, okay, let's accept each other for who we are and embrace our differences.
I think also making sure that there are spaces allotted for different groups, whether it's a women's only or a male only or non-binary only or POC spaces. I think having those spaces at all and creating those spaces is so very important. And then part of making sure that we have safe spaces for different groups and different types of people are making sure that we have people who look like you in those spaces and as part of running those organizations. If people walk into a room and all they see is people that don't look like them, then it makes them not feel very comfortable. So I think that's part of that also, in creating and making sure that we have a safe space for all.
Oh, good. Tell us about your first experience and in a dungeon space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit. I literally went into, I think it wasn't the Baltimore Playhouse. It was some, like, more kind of very, like, light BDSM. God, I wish I'd remember the name. Up in Baltimore, and I begged my daddy at the time to take me there.
You went to Club Orpheus.
Yes, I did. Okay, so Club Orpheus, and it was like 2-story, and she drove us up there, and we got there, and I had begged her to go, I was like, please, I just want to go, and then I literally sat in the corner the entire time. For an hour, 2 hours, however long it was. I sat in the corner, I didn't talk to anybody, I didn't do anything, and I just sat and I was like, well, I'm here, I'm inside, check that off the list. So that was my first experience inside of dungeon, but in terms of my first real BDSM experience, I went to a demo night over at at the Crucible, which was in its new space there, and that was a lot of fun because I got to try a couple new things, and I got to do a little scene with my rope top at the time, and I got to try knives for the first time. So that was definitely a lot more enjoyable for me because I was able to actually do something and not just sit and be terrified the whole time.
What about you, sir? What was your first experience like in a dungeon space?
I remember it very clearly. Don't ask me how many years ago. It was a few years back.
Okay, so like 2.
Right.
Yeah, a little more than that, but yes. So there, I saw this massage table, and there was a woman naked getting needles all over her. And not only was that person getting needles all over them, the husband had this device that was transmitting electricity. I'm telling you how I saw it. And they went on for a good while doing all the needles and this and that, and then passing the electricity. And at some point during all that, he said, "You can come." And not only the person came, but I saw them kind of like passing out. Later on I found out that's called subscapes.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first experience, so it definitely left a very impactful impression on me. But that was, I would say, one of the first time I actually experienced any of that.
Nice. So is there any other organizations that you both support that are in the community?
There's a few.
There's a few? Would you like to share?
I'm a proud Onyx associate of Onyx Deep South. Leather History Preservation Weekend. I have to say, the Leather Solidarity Collective. Carter Georgeson Library. I mean, I could honestly sit down here. Leather Archives and Museum. I mean, I could sit down and just, till tomorrow telling
Same.
telling organizations that other organizations that I support. But basically, the way we approach this is that we're here to help in whatever capacity, whenever we can, and whenever you need us.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sassie? Any other organizations or communities?
Yeah, I'm a member of Hard Pink Sisterhood and Onyx Pearls Deep South, and also I do the social media and help Daddy with Mas Kissimmee. Those are all very important things to us. Of course, the Little Scouts of Central Florida. We also, we generally just try to help out wherever we can, whether it's helping at the woodshed or helping at Beyond Leather, several conferences that we go to. I just helped, I was a chat moderator for the Latino in Leather event, and just generally helping out wherever we can, whether it be virtual now or in person, doing things like setting up canned food drives at our local dungeon every year during the holidays, just to give back to the community at large. I also, again, not during a pandemic, but when not a pandemic, I volunteered at the LGBT Center in Orlando. Those are all things that are very important to us.
Awesome. Pup, is there any questions from Twitch? Any from TikTok? No, just people are tuning in. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you both for your time. I know this was long. How are your boots?
They're so beautiful.
They look amazing.
They look so happy.
Amazing.
They look so good. And they're edge coated now and darker.
I know, right? I'm so impressed.
I know that chair's like a brutal butt. How's your bracelet? How did it come out?
I think it's good.
It looks good.
It was
And now it's gotten darker.
I know, it's definitely like way darker than it was, so that's great because
Yep.
it's definitely had some sun on it from being in Florida. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we end?
No, thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
Like
you're
we're so happy to be here and happy to see you. So thank you for having us, and congratulations on your recent title. So we're very excited for you and excited to see the work that you're doing. So thank you for everything.
Thanks. Anything else, sir?
Well, thank you for having us, and it's been great, and again, congratulations.
Aw, thanks. Alright, well thank you guys for tuning in. Everyone stay safe. And I will see you next time. I'll probably be bootblacking next week. I have an Olivia Wilde bag I need to clean and send back to Chicago. So we're working with Hubbards. Awesome. Have a great day, guys. Bye.